You're probably doing a little bit better than I am, going on 4 hours of sleep. Rousted out of bed this morning with the ding of a bell and a new 5-point-something earthquake striking out here at the California-Nevada border. 5.3 earthquake coming in. And it may be upgraded or downgraded. I don't know where we're ultimately going to come in at. Let's just see where they came. 5.2 is where they came in at, plus subsequent 4.6, 4.5. We'll talk about that in a second, but that's a big earthquake. Got a lot of people's attention out here over at the California-Nevada border. Now, this is the size earthquake we were expecting to come into Long Valley. This is the second earthquake to come into Long Valley. There was a previous 4 a few days ago. And that's just kind of where we're starting off the update. I'll go through the earthquakes in a second on the West Coast, but we have to jump all the way across here and look at what's happened since yesterday's 50,000 foot high blast, 47,000 foot high blast with ongoing continuous emissions up to 37,000 feet from Krakatau volcano over here in Indonesia in the middle of our warned area. A very large volcanic blast happened yesterday. Look at what else is going on though. Stepping stone path of the same sized earthquakes. 5.1, 5.0, 5.2, 5.1, and in the middle of it all a 6.
Yellowstone is the most famous volcano in the continental United States. Scientists have discovered that throughout its history, it's undergone 3 massive eruptions. The first was 2.1 million years ago. The second was 1.3 million years ago. And the most recent occurred just 640,000 years in the past. While many people will say Yellowstone is overdue for an eruption, the truth isn't so simple. Volcanoes are never overdue for eruptions because they don't work in predictable methods. However, if you look at recent activity, then you may be justifiably worried. Recent activity could point to Yellowstone finally going off in 2020. After all, with everything else to have already happened this year, it really would be the
1 month just to get a clue of what's really happened. I hardly ever do this. We hardly ever look up a full month's worth of earthquakes. Yeah, let's look at the 5s and greater, because, there'll be some people say, 4s are regular Dutch, they happen all the time, it's not a big deal. Okay, let's look at the earthquakes people can feel in the last month. So, 6.1 coming across our arrow this way, 5.0 coming across this way, going down to our letter X's. Letter X, look how many times the letter X was hit in the last month. Same with out here. X marks the spot, direct hit, 5.6. And a line of earthquakes, you can see the path it's taken here. It's gone around the X and gone up the fracture zone. Europe, you can trace it back. Let's go look at the 4s because then it's like a stepping stone path of earthquakes across Europe. Look at that. And again, maybe it looks like a jumbled mess because the rings are so big. But if you take it down a little bit, you can definitely see it's following the plate boundary down around Turkey, going back down through Iran, focusing in here, coming back across China. This is 30 days. Across the Himalayan range, but mainly on the plate boundary. Going back down here, down across Sumatra, Indonesia, and going back over into the West Pacific, where I think it's pretty obvious where our energy is starting, wouldn't you say? Hey, if earthquakes were random, why aren't they striking everywhere, guys? They're only following the plate boundary. This is 30 days. Even the untrained eye should be able to see it's following it perfectly. Here's our 7.5 earthquake up here on the north side, the biggest one of the bunch. Gee, I wonder where that came from.